Have you ever walked around the streets of KL and you see this? Or this? And you might be wondering, what is this? And why is this in front of my egg tarts? These egg tarts look pretty good though. This is the Malaysia Book of Records. It's an institution that recognizes people and companies that achieve national records. Just imagine the Guinness World Record. Bahala! By the looks of it, it definitely is an important piece in modern Malaysia history. But every time I brought it up, everyone else will be like, huh? So I would like to talk about it. Its history, what does it do, and hey, maybe we can find some weird achievements. That would be fun, right? Let's get into it. The origins of the Malaysian Book of Records have been changed throughout the years. According to the website in 2006, it was claimed that the founder Dato' Danny Oy saw a man attempting to break a record by cycling in the Merdeka Stadium in 1990. Years later, the narrative shifted when Danny Oy released his autobiography, stating that he actually got the idea when he drove back from work beside the Sultan Abdul Samad building. Fun fact, he was also in charge of the main building pageants in Malaysia, making him the Donald Trump of Malaysia, which is why I hereby support Dato' Danny Oy to be the next Prime Minister of Malaysia. Years later in 1995, it was officially launched by Mr. Muhammad bin Rahmat, then Minister of Information. And after several television series, books, award events and an abandoned museum project, is now the official appraiser to Malaysia's national records. Now, everyone can be a record holder. Just simply sign up for the low price of... Before anything, we need to get one thing straightforward. The purpose of the Malaysia Book of Records is propaganda. I mean, it's literally right in the name. The company did openly express how the project is basically one of the main elements for then Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad's Malaysia Boleh campaign in order to fulfill Vision 2020. Heck, if it's not supported by the government, the succeeding Prime Ministers won't even give an eye on them. Instead, every PM after Mahathir's has publicly praised Book of Records efforts. This is nothing new as countries like Indonesia also have their own organization for national records. That is not what I'm criticizing for. I don't think propaganda itself is problematic. What I'm interested in is how their mission and vision of promoting national identity has warped over the decades. But if we want to do that, we need to go deep. That means going through their content. But here's the problem. A lot of their archives either have been lost due to time or have been locked away from the public by the company itself. If you go to their website, you can find that their records have been limited. Not to mention that their books have been out of print. Well guys, I think we reached a dead end. I guess we could no longer find anything about the Malaysian Book of Records since I can't even find their books. This is the first ever edition of the Malaysia Book of Records, sponsored by Maxis. When you open it, the first thing you might notice is the amateur standard design. Obviously, it is their first book, so there's not a lot to comment on. However, even as their first book, it is a very meaty book, which jot down achievements such as Biggest Cat, first album with 3 covers, and... what? I also love some of the pictures the book provided, which include Mahathir admiring a roll of rice cooker, and this. Sometimes I question my plain old existence. I've also found the 10th anniversary edition of the book. Inside, you can see a lot more achievements, but I want to highlight the silly ones here, like first to produce square watermelon, longest non-stop Al-Quran recital, and most people drinking soup. I just also want to mention that as a flag fan, there's an entire section for the best Jalur Gemilang. Like, it's crazy how much I underestimated the people's love for our national flag. There was a flag made with cars, flag made with egg trays, flag made with cake, flag made with bottle caps, flag made with flags! Like I said before, the Malaysian Book of Records is aligned with patriotism. And the books express that. Both books that I examined had intense coverage of national achievements in business, sports, etc. Especially the 10th anniversary version. Never mind the cover, which is a huge Malaysia flag, the opening contains multiple messages including for various cabinet ministers and 3 prime ministers. Which really goes to show how the company and the government are heavily linked to each other after all these years, despite the fact that they only got monetary government support 9 years after the launch of the company while it was in heavy debt. Speaking of government, both books had documented achievements in the government sector, including, in my opinion, unnecessary stuff like the first Prime Minister. But all of this was decades ago. The Malaysia Book of Records had already stopped selling books. How are they up to? Are they still following their motto? Why don't we really hear anything from them anymore? Is it okay to not shower for 2 weeks? We will answer to all of this except that last one right after the break. Does this happen to you? It's merely hours before the most important day in your life. Your best friend called you in the middle of the night. He told you he had an emergency and couldn't be your best man. and now you have to fill out the gap. What would you do? You call Tim Min Seong, who is recorded as the best man? The most best man? He attended a lot of weddings is what I would say. Not only does he know all the intricate traditions of a Chinese wedding, he also knows how to cut hair, make noodles, and even do magic. So what are you waiting for? Call now on 019 999 9999. That's 019 999 9999. Okay, we're back. If we need to take a look at the current state of the Malaysian Book of Records, we also need to look somewhere to draw a comparison. The Guinness Book of Records for the past few years or so has been attracting controversy in terms of its recent business model. Gone were the days of legitimacy and the Guinness celebrities, as they lean towards on a more monetary system, where one could only enter the catalogue if you pour a lot of money into the company. This is why in recent times a lot of corporate records started to appear because 1. They are able to afford them, and 2. The brand becomes a great exposure. And these have been largely criticized by the public. What if someone is able to break a record, but he didn't have the money to submit to Guinness? If there are a humongous amount of people like that out there, then what's the legitimacy of Guinness in the end? And we can see that similarity in Malaysian Book of Records too, especially since they stopped selling books now. So now, does the Malaysian Book of Records move to the same mindset as well? I mean, just look at their mission fee. According to the article by Falcon Post, Malaysian Book of Records stated that they aim to consult Malaysian companies on leveraging a record-breaking campaign or event to engage their employees, attract main participation, or gain deserving exposure and mileage. So yes, they do bow down to companies and let them achieve the record as an advertisement for themselves by exercising capitalism. But what if I tell you they were always like this? If you flip through the first edition of the book, you will find that at the end of every chapter, there are pages and pages of advertisement, specifically companies that were on the national record during the time. So, already in the 90s, Malaysian corporations were using the Malaysia Book of Records as clout and vice versa. Even years later, you can't help but recognize these companies and their calculated act. So, does the Book of Records kowtow to capitalism? Yes. Is it new? Definitely not. In the same article by Falcon, NPR mentioned that despite the new approach, their goal still remains to promote Malaysia and its greatness. But the question is, does it? We will come back after the break. Does this happen to you? It's early in the morning, you're deeply craving for some delicious eggs. And just when you're about to enter the kitchen to cook some sweet egg, you realize your hands are gone. Oh no! Now what are you gonna do? You call Sivasabi Balakrishnan, who has crushed the most number of eggs by placing the egg on the back of his wrist. He bends his fingers backwards to break the shells. It's utterly horrific. So what are you waiting for? Call now on 019 999 9999. That's 019 999 9999. Hi, the main difference of the Malaysian Book of Records between the past and the present is its publicity. Imagine you're a kid in the 90s, you open TV2, and there's a show exhibiting the greatest in the country. You may read newspapers and find out about the one guy who pulls a train with his teeth. It's everywhere. And then all of a sudden it went away. Now, if you ever notice about NPR now, it's usually either promotion for companies, which we had covered before the break, and impressive children. So what happened? Well, patriotism. We have established that patriotism is the fuel of the company. Well, I believe that over the decades, that very same jingoism from NPR has been corrupted. In the 90s, we have Malaysia Boleh and Wawasan 2020. Malaysia seems like there's hope for a huge boost. And now it's time to advertise ourselves with NPR. That's why the government was actively promoting the heck out of NPR. But now, 30 years gone by, our perception of the government has gone down steadily, if not rapidly. The nationalism and our unity had changed. So, we no longer care. Yes, there are still patriotic achievements that are similar to the ones we have seen before, but they no longer have the same attraction as before. And the recent business model doesn't help either. By turning towards the monetary system, the national achievements might not highlight them, but instead hold the image of an exposure conduit. That leads to the last question. Does NPR still matter? I don't know. I mean, to me it's important that there's an archival document about it. It's a huge part of our history, no matter how people neglect it. But now, they are losing the spark, the momentum. If they need to gain back the popularity, they need to find out what made it popular in the first place. They need to bring back the fun, the goofiness, the curiosity, the beauty of national records. Which is why I have a plan.